This episode of the Burnout Recovery Podcast is brought to you by MEGA, your medical indemnity partner. Whether you're starting out in your career or have decades of experience, MEGA helps you thrive with support that goes beyond insurance. Enjoy travel benefits like complimentary travel insurance and Qantas points on your membership, plus education, medical legal support, access to career coaching and wellbeing resources. Visit mega.com.au to learn more. Insurance issued by Medical Insurance Australia, which has not taken into account your objectives or situation. Before you make any decisions about our policies, please read our PDS and consider your needs. Call us for a copy or visit mega.com.au.
Welcome to the Burnout Recovery Podcast, a guiding resource dedicated to healthcare professionals on their journey to overcoming burnout. Spearheaded by Dr. Joe Braid, a certified professional coach and rehabilitation physician.
Welcome back to the Burnout Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Braid, and this is episode number 160. So if you're listening to this episode in early December, you're probably feeling it, that end-of-year exhaustion that certainly creeps in for many of us. Your morning routine might be slipping, your schedule feels chaotic, and everyone seems to want something for you before the holidays hit. Today, we're talking about one simple boundary that can change everything: getting to work on time. But this isn't just about punctuality. It's about professional boundaries, realistic scheduling, and creating a morning routine that actually works for your life. Let's be honest about where you are right now. This podcast comes out on December the 10th, 2025. You're tired, your patients are trying to squeeze in last-minute appointments before Christmas and summer holidays. Your family's making holiday plans. Your brain is already half checked out, but your calendar is fuller than ever. Sound familiar? This is exactly when boundaries matter most. And it starts with one fundamental boundary: protecting your morning routine and arrival time at work. When I say getting to work on time, I'm not talking about being a clock-watching perfectionist. I'm talking about honoring the commitment you've made to yourself and your work. Think about it. When you consistently arrive late, what are you really saying? You're saying that everyone else's time is more valuable than yours. You're saying that your morning routine doesn't matter. You're saying that you'll squeeze yourself into whatever time is left over. And that's not sustainable, and that's definitely not a recipe for avoiding burnout. When your morning starts in chaos, that might be hitting snooze 3 times, rushing through getting ready, arriving at work already stressed, extra traffic because you started later. That energy carries throughout your entire day. You're reactive instead of responsive. You're behind before you even begin. But here's what happens when you protect your morning routine and arrival time. You start the day feeling in control. You have mental space to prepare for what's ahead. You model healthy boundaries for your colleagues and patients, and you create a buffer that prevents one delayed appointment from derailing your entire day. So let's get practical. I want you to design a morning routine that you can actually stick to, especially during busy periods like this. First of all, work backwards. Start with when you need to be at work, then work backwards. If you need to be there at 8 a.m. and your commute is 20 minutes, you need to leave by 7:40. Maybe add 10 minutes for unexpected delays. You're now leaving at 7:30. Then the minimum viable routine. What's the absolute minimum you need to feel human in the morning? Maybe it's 10 minutes to wake up properly, 15 minutes for hygiene and getting dressed, 5 minutes to grab breakfast and coffee, and 5 minutes to review your day. Okay, so that totals 35 minutes, so you need to be up by 6:55 a.m. Now, what would make your morning actually good instead of just functional? Maybe 10 minutes of quiet time with coffee, 5 minutes to check something online that you want to and plan your outfit the night before, a proper breakfast instead of grabbing something on the run. Part of my morning routine that I always do is getting up and I do a horizontal meditation in bed, usually 8 to 10 minutes long. I listen to that. I think I've got a 190-day streak now on Insight Timer. I've got a range of favorite morning routine meditations that I love doing, and I'm also open to new tracks that often pop up on Insight Timer. It is an absolute non-negotiable for me. So, I mean, that could be 10 minutes of wake-up time, but I see that as definitely a calming part of my morning that starts before I get up for the day. Now, here's where this gets interesting for healthcare professionals. When you consistently arrive on time and prepared, you're setting a professional boundary that says, I respect this work, I respect my colleagues, and I respect my patients, and I show up ready. You're also setting a boundary with yourself. You're saying, my well-being matters enough to protect the start of my day. And this becomes especially important when patients try to book last-minute appointments or colleagues ask for favors. When you have a solid morning routine, you have the mental clarity to say, I can help you, and here's where I'm available, instead of just saying yes to everything. Now let's talk about realistic scheduling, because December is when this gets really tested. The 80% rule. A suggestion could be to only schedule yourself to 80% capacity. If you have 10 appointment slots, only book 8. And this gives you buffer time for the inevitable emergency appointments and prevents you from running late all day. My coaching clients who I've coached around time management and professional boundaries a lot really dislike running late and often show up giving more time to the patients who have been seen late. So everything takes even longer to get through the whole clinical day. So if you always have that buffer there, you're more likely to catch up if something blows out unexpectedly. How about between now and the end of the year, add some extra 10-minute blocks between some of your appointments in the day? Maybe it's not between every single appointment, but can that buffer time mean that you'll be more present for the patients you actually do see? And thirdly, your energy audit. How charged would you say your battery is right now? I asked that to a friend at lunch today, and she said, I'm about on 20%. Why don't you check in with yourself right now for how charged your battery is? And if you know when your energy peaks and valleys are during your workday, aim to schedule your most demanding work during your peak times and protect your low energy times for admin or easier tasks. And I wanted to share in this podcast episode today how really developing and nutting out our professional boundaries can also support us with our personal boundaries for holiday survival. So just like with work, decide when you'll arrive at family gatherings and stick to it. How about your departure time boundary? Today, I haven't talked about aiming to set yourself a boundary for when you want to leave work, but that can be as an important boundary as your arrival time at work. Here's an example of how you might do it in a personal boundary setting concept with family over the holiday. Decide when you'll leave and communicate it in advance. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. I'll be there from 2 till 6 p.m. And how about the morning protection boundary, even on holidays? Maybe it's just 15 minutes with coffee before the chaos starts, but that could be a really important time to protect for yourself. So the key to any sustainable routine is making it so simple you can do it even when you're tired, stressed, or distracted. For example, you could prep the night before, choose your outfit, prepare your breakfast, pack up your work bag. I love having the coffee machine with the water topped up, the capsules ready to go, and my favorite cup ready to go. It's so much simpler in the morning, and it's like it's already been set out for me to get going in the morning. Love that. Create triggers. So this is how to build sustainable habits for yourself. Link your new routine to existing habits. So, for example, after I brush my teeth, I'll spend 5 minutes reviewing my schedule or something pertaining to my day ahead. And start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire morning at once. Pick one element, maybe just arriving at work 10 minutes earlier, and master that first. And I just want to reflect on finishing the Stanford Medicine Physician Wellbeing Director course today. It was such a powerful final session that we had with over 100 of us from around the world, getting our final lecture from Dr. Tate Shanafelt, who you may well know is an absolute leader in the world in physician wellbeing. And he echoed this: start small. Whatever you're bringing to your hospital or your clinic or your workplace, of starting small and getting small, regular changes underway rather than doing a huge, massive project to get going with. So here's why boundary setting matters so much. When you master the boundary of protecting your morning and arrival time, you're practicing boundary setting in a low stakes environment. You're building the muscle you'll need for bigger boundaries later. You're also creating a foundation of calm that makes everything else easier. When your day starts with intention instead of chaos, you have more capacity to handle whatever comes next. For the rest of this month, I want you to try this. Pick one element of your morning routine to protect and one arrival time to honor. Maybe it's getting to work 15 minutes early, or maybe it's having 10 minutes of quiet time before you start seeing patients. Start there, master that, then build on it. And remember, boundaries aren't about being rigid or selfish. They're about creating the conditions where you can show up as your best self for the people you need. That's a wrap on this week's episode number 160. And if it resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Send me a message and let me know what boundary you're going to try this week. Until next time, remember, you can't pour from an empty cup and you can't set boundaries from a place of chaos. Start with your morning and watch everything else fall into place. Take care of yourselves out there and thank you for listening. Bye. Ready to take the next step in your burnout recovery journey? Visit drjoebraid.com for free resources, all 150 plus podcast episodes, and information about my keynote speaking. Links are in the show notes. Your well-being matters. Protect the asset that is you. Be your best you. Rely on MEGA for your protection and support, serving doctors for over 125 years through insurance, education, medical legal advice, and member benefits designed to help you thrive and succeed. Insurance issued by Medical Insurance Australia, which has not taken into account your objectives or situation. Before you make any decisions about our policies, please read our PDS and consider your needs. Call us for a copy or visit mega.com.au.